The next award, the best award, if you're a Houston Rockets fan, because the only award you could conceivably maybe have one of your players win, even though they won't. Rookie of the year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we are going to have some disagreements on this Rookie of the Year award ballot.
Okay.
James.
You kick it off, will you?
All right, James. My number 3 pick for the Rookie of the Year, who's get my, third place vote. Franz Wagner.
Ooh, no.
Look, here's the thing. My big thing with Rookie of the Year is I don't give a fuck where you've been drafted. I don't give a fuck what your long-term outlook is. I just kind of want to say, okay, who of these guys in this one season sample that we're going to have, who had the best season? And Franz Wagner has been, by a lot of metrics, maybe the best rookie in the league this year. I mean, let's just go look at his stats. 15 points per game, 51% on 2-pointers, 35% on 3-pointers, 86% on free throws, 2.9 assists, which is pretty good for, a power small forward, especially as a rookie, 4.5 rebounds, positional versatility on defense. I just look at him and I go, this guy's been if you were to put him on a good NBA team, not the Orlando Magic, I think pretty much every team, they would find a way to make sure he gets 20 minutes because of his actual impact to winning. And that's like a pretty impressive thing for a rookie, because a lot of these guys get their stats because they're like, yeah, well, we're not trying to win right now.
Yeah, you're spitting, you're making a case. I get it, but I just feel as if there are like 3, 4, or 5 rookies who are just better players. Like that's a really simplified argument, but that's just my feeling. Like I feel as though he's good. He's been a big surprise, but to me that it's a hot take. You know that. Like I don't even really need to explain why it's a hot take.
I don't think it's that thing. Why is it a hot take? Just if you go look at his points and his efficiency, like what part of that's actually a hot take? Like the points, the efficiency tend to be like, pretty good indicators of Rookie of the Year voting.
Well, put it this way. I'm going to list off 3 guys that have a chance to win the award, and you've listed off a guy that doesn't have any chance to win the award.
Well, here's the thing. 538 has him at 4.9 WAR. That's the second best of all rookies this season.
Yeah.
He's got a positive defensive and offensive Raptor score, right? He's a little bit negative, a little bit under 0 for box plus minus, which for rookies, perfectly reasonable. Like,
of course.
To me, it's like, look, like he's a guy who projects to be an above average offensive and defensive player, and he's having a good efficiency season. I just like his usage is at 21%, like not a high usage player, but he's a big part of that future. And from this draft, if he ends up being the 5th best player, would that surprise you? I don't think so.
That wouldn't shock me. Austin Reeves is 4th in wins over replacement, right? Herbert Jones is leading. Neither of them are Rookie of the Year candidates. So
you say that.
Don't tell me you got Herb Jones number 2.
Yeah, I got Herb Jones number 2.
Oh, come on, man. It's gonna be one of the big stars.
I don't give a fuck who it's. Look, man. I'm not out here trying to predict who's gonna win it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm out here trying to say, like, my feeling with Rookie of the Year is you just got to go, hey, there are some rookies who this is the only award in their career that they'll probably ever have a chance to win. And I think that might be the case for Herb Jones, even though Herb Jones could win a Defensive Player of the Year. He's like been that good on defense. So like, I don't know, man. Who's your third option?
My third option, forgive me for being, a Philistine here, but is Cade Cunningham.
No, I think that's great. I mean, I think Cade Cunningham's been good. I just,
I think, like, to me, I know that the advanced metrics don't shine on him that much, but he's been like the fulcrum of an NBA team. He's been the offensive engine of an entire NBA team. And like, I just think a guy like Franz Wagner or Herb Jones, it's a little easier for them to just kind of slot in and like do what they do best. That applies less with Franz, who's been like a bona fide offensive player, you know? Like I think Herb Jones is gonna be awesome. The Pelicans should be really excited about him. He's a steal, but it's hard for me to put
Yeah.
him up with a guy who like has been the number one option on an NBA team, you know?
Well, yeah, but I'll just counter for my Herb Jones stands out there. Herb Jones. He's like the fulcrum of their fucking defense.
Yep.
And they might make the play in. And like, what was the big question about the Pelicans? Where like their defense is gonna fucking suck. And he's made it suck less. And they're in the play in because of it. Like, that to me matters a little bit. Like, he helped a team that was trying to win be good. And I do think what ends up happening is Cade Cunningham is definitely a better basketball player than Herb Jones. But like right now, he's being asked to do shit that he can't really do at an effective NBA level. And I don't know why that should give him bonus points. And then Herb Jones should be held against him or Franz Wagner, where it's like, well, you're actually helping your team win, but like you're not like, like
It's
that's
kind of
not.
like it's kind of like giving employee of the month to the most competent assistant instead of the CEO who struggled a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like maybe that's not a perfect analogy, but it's like to me, it's like I do think that these guys should be awarded for having more responsibility
Why?
because that makes it harder for them to come away with like a nice wins over replacement. You know, like
Yeah, but it also makes it easier for them to do? End up being a good player and getting all NBA and all-star awards down the line and getting
well,
bigger
fair enough.
contracts. Like that's kind of my view with it, where it's like I feel like sometimes the rookie of the year comes down to like who do we think is going to end up having the best career? And if we don't have those guys finish in the top three, then the award will have been stupid. Like that's not the point of the award. It's to
Yeah,
reward the rookie that was the best this season. And like do I think Cade Cunningham is going to be 10 times have 10 times more warp or Raptor than Herb Jones by the end of his career? Probably. But like right in this one season, like let's give Herb Jones his moment in the
all right, all
sun.
right. So
No, but I agree with you. I think Cade Cunningham's a very good choice.
that's
He's
my
been
third.
yeah. So who's second for you?
Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I like Evan Mobley.
Yeah, man. Evan Mobley is he's a stud. I still think he's probably gonna be the best player in the class. Sorry to all my Rockets Twitter homies out there, but you know, that's how I feel. But yeah, Evan Mobley. I you know, he's actually been pretty solid in terms of wins over replacement. He's probably been the defensive anchor of that team, although you know, Herb Jones has been a better defensive anchor for his team, but Mobley's had a better two-way impact. And again, you know, he has more responsibility. Now his offensive Raptor is piss poor actually, but I'm going to factor in the fact that he has a larger role to an extent in my assessment of that. You know.
I would also say like his offensive environment is really kind of precarious. Laurie Markkinen's missed large portions of the season. He's playing next to Jared Allen, and while like that's great for their defense,
Yeah.
at this stage in his career, it's definitely not good for his offense. Darius Garland is like the only guard they have that can pass, dribble, or shoot. I'm saying and do all three. He's the only one that can do any one of those things really effectively on offense. And then they brought in Karis Latank into the
Yeah.
team, and like that guy is just, he can get his buckets, but I just don't think he consistently gets other guys the looks that you want him to. Even though you see tape and you're like, this guy, Karis LeVert's the ultimate. Like, I've seen him do the stuff that we really need him to do. Why can't he just fucking do this all the time instead of like one every 10 times?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like I know he's talented, but it's like he reminds me of like Monta Ellis. So like he's just one of those guys, you know, where it's like he's talented. He can get buckets. He can even set teammates up, but he just doesn't play a way that is conducive to winning.
Look,
He's a least valuable player candidate for sure.
he hasn't played enough. He's tanked. Actually, I mean, he tanked the Pacers season and he tanked the Cavaliers season when he showed up. So he's doing it. He's doing it all over the league.
Yeah. Who's the
Okay.
number one?
I mean, I think we have to have the same guy. I think it's pretty obvious. I think it has to be Scotty Barnes.
Alperen Şengün.
I mean, I love Şengün. It just
Yeah.
look, Şengün would be my rookie of the year if he had started probably
If he
every
got the
game.
minutes, he could have done it.
Granted,
Yeah.
he does turn the ball over like so much, but the turnovers right now are definitely worth it because they lead to the highlights that you want from a bad team,
Yeah.
and they lead to the turnovers you want from a bad team because those lead to more losses.
But yeah, it's Scotty Barnes though. Yeah.
He's so good. I mean, uh, it's one of the things people question his upside, and I go, look, like this guy has no real weakness. Like you could say the outside shot isn't great, but it's been better than expected. But like in terms of like offense, defense, on the perimeter, in the post, defense, offense, like he has like no real weak spot where you're like, this guy looks lost. And that's as a rookie. And I think players like him tend to get underrated where it's like, yeah, he's got no weakness, but like, what is he super good at? I'm like, well, if he gets like super good at one thing based upon his current skill set right now, he's like a borderline all-star. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, he'll be an all. I think he should be an all-star.
well, that's my point is that it's like, there's kind of, I just feel it's like people tend to have more, people tend to think guys with super good skills in one area and maybe like pretty big deficiencies in other ones have like more potential. Where I like guys that are like they're good at everything, and it's like all you need for them to do is get like a little bit better at one of those things or two of those things, then the whole package is fantastic. I
Yeah.
think he's been great. I mean, there's
Oh,
the counting stats, the advanced metrics, like the team success, like he's the MVP of rookies.
he is. Yeah. Like, let me say this. Like, you have favored an argument that favors like box plus minus related metrics and stuff in your Wagner and Herb choices, right? Whereas I've favored guys with like big roles.
Yeah.
I've looked a little less at that stuff, but Scotty Barnes, like he's got the hybrid argument, right? Like he's both. He's your guy and he's my guy. Like he's been really impressive, man. In terms of the ceiling, I've said that I think he has. I want to say the lowest ceiling of the top 4 picks in the draft. It's just my opinion, but that's not to say he has a low ceiling. You know, like because I think this draft has a chance to be pretty historic, and I think that Scotty Barnes has every opportunity to be like an All NBA guy. You know?
Yeah, and he's someone that like I kind of feel like multiple all defensive teams is like a super easy thing to project for him.
Yep.
I love his game. And
Yep.
he's someone that like I love guys that I feel like if you bump up their usage, they'll do well. You take their usage away, they'll do well. Like those guys are so valuable because if you're going to be real, like on a possession by possession basis, your usage is going to fluctuate massively. You know, like some possessions you never touch the ball, some possessions the ball's just in your hand. And I like guys that like, you know, like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the issue is like if they're not getting usage that possession, they're not really helping. Exactly the way they're doing. I think personally, I think Scotty Barnes has the highest likelihood of reaching his ceiling.
So I would say the same. If not Evan Mobley, maybe, right? But those are the two guys who like maybe I'm biased, but I think that Green has the highest ceiling, but he has the lowest like expected outcome is how I would put it, you know?
Yeah.
Like
There's you're less confidence that like he'll get close to it, while there's more confidence the other three guys that like while their ceiling might not be as high that like they will get
they'll
very
hit
close to it.
Yeah. Barnes, I think might be the opposite. I see the lowest like expected outcome, but sorry, the highest expected, but the lowest ceiling. But it might be Mobley. But those two guys, like those two guys have a chance to be really unique defenders, and that's gonna carry them no matter what else develops or doesn't develop, right? Uh the thing with Barnes, I will say that I do think the jump shot is a pretty big question mark, especially when you get into like his off-ball value and stuff. It's he can have off-ball value as like a cutter and a screen setter in half-court sets, even if he doesn't develop the three. But to maximize his versatility, he is going to have to develop a reliable jump shot. You know?
Yeah, and I know that was the question about him coming out, and I think he's actually shot better than people expected. I mean, he's only at 30% from three-point range, but he's at 73% from the free throw line. So like that's a good early indicator for a guy who's had issues shooting, where that was concerned is that the free throw shooting is there. And with his skill set, like if he's a 33% three-point shooter with what he brings to you other places,
Yeah,
then
that's
this
right.
dude could be a fucking like Draymond Green small ball five with
Oh yeah,
more off the dribble creation. Like we're talking about like a guy who could be like that's might be all he needs to be a super elite player. And that's how you know a dude is good if they're not a center, where it's like, yeah, if he shoots like 32 to 33% 3-point range, they're like, he's a stud. Like
Yeah.
that's nuts.